The word or the saying, fear of God, is a very known saying. Everyone says this word, but most people don't really understand what it really means. And so, I'll give it to you in this way that I think of it. Fear of God is when you have so much reverence for God. In anything you do, you think of Him. Let's say, like you're gonna steal something, and you're like, I just fear God too much. I have too much respect for Him. I have too much reverence for Him. And I'm not gonna do this because I fear Him. Not in fear like, oh, I fear like demons or something. Like in fear like reverence and respect. So when you fear the Lord, and actually fearing the Lord, you don't fear Him because you feel forced to. You fear Him because you recognize His authority. And Solomon always talks about having fear for God. Always makes it a pinpoint saying, fear God. Because fearing the Lord is the beginning of all knowledge. It's the beginning of wisdom. That's how he starts Proverbs. You go ahead and read it. And how does he end Ecclesiastes, the book right after Proverbs? He says, actually I have it right here. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Then he finishes. So you might be asking, why does Solomon always talk about fearing God? It's because he was the wisest man. They said he was so wise that everyone in Jerusalem, if you add them all together, they still couldn't be as wise as him. And he was so rich that even if you add the whole entire freaking Jerusalem, add them all together, they still couldn't outmatch him. In wisdom, in riches, in women, and everything. And so, he has all these things, and he says, the beginning of all knowledge is the fear of God. And that's why I like the character of Solomon, because he has the criteria to say these things. And so, what's the fear of the Lord? Fear of the Lord is always at all times thinking, I respect God enough not to do this action, because God is always watching. When you change, most people don't have this mindset. Most people, they just do things. They just whatever is in front of them, they do it. They don't think before they do it. And so when you obtain the fear of the Lord, when you obtain the fear of God, you think before you do something. Like, for example, oh, maybe this is not good. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Fear of God. Oh, God's watching. You know? And I'm going to tie it into one thing. Most people, when they do their sins, let me give you an example. When they do porn, when they jerk off, they don't act like that God's next to them. They don't have fear of the Lord enough. Not enough. And let me tell you something. If you imagine God's watching me. No. You're not gonna jerk off anymore. You're gonna be like, oh shoot, God's watching me. He's right here. Because God's everywhere all at the same time. He's right here. Oh shoot. Nah, I'm good. Sin comes. Oh shoot. Nah, I'm good. And it's like, let me give you an example. Let me try to make it relatable. Because in Peter, it says to make everything relatable so you can understand. Like, let's say your father, right? Your father is watching you play freaking basketball or watching you play boxing or anything. You're like, dang, he's watching me. I better turn my game up. And most people, they don't do the same thing with God. And God's the eternal Father. God's the Father of all things. And that's the one you should be really pleasing. And so he says in Matthew, he says, if anyone loves their father or mother more than me, they're not worthy of me. And so you should love you should love God more than you love anyone else. And so when you have this mindset, God's watching you. I should be always doing the best. I should be always pleasing God. Everything I do, I should please God at all times. Then your life starts to change. Everything you do starts to change. Just keep it in your head. God's watching you. Dude, I want you to do this for a whole day. For a whole day, I want you to say every 10 to 5 minutes, God's watching you. God's watching you. God's watching you. And watch how your day goes. Your day is going to go very well. You're probably not even going to sin a single time in that day. Because you're always thinking God is watching you. This is where knowledge starts to get it. Because you have to fear God first before you have wisdom or knowledge. And so, that's the fear of the Lord. And when you have this fear of the Lord, fear of God, you're always thinking, God's watching me. I should always be doing my best. I will not fail God. I will not be slothful. I will not sit in my squalor and be a loser. I will please God. I will do things for God. I will do things for His kingdom. I will go out and disciple people. I will spread His name. I will make more money, to help His kingdom and everything else. And so when you attain this fear of the Lord, you start to become a better person. This is why Solomon says, fear God first. Learn how to fear Him of all things. Because that's the most important thing. So that's what you have to do. You have to fear Him. Everything you do, God is watching you. Anything I do, I'm speaking to this camera, God's watching it. What's up, Jesus? Yeah, Jesus is watching me. See, Jesus is watching me right now. He's watching me right now. Hello. Not delusional. So, at all times, think God is watching. Everything you do, think God is watching. You're about to go jerk off. God's watching me. You're about to go steal. God's watching you. You're about to go lie. Before you lie, catch yourself. God's watching. Make your yeses yes and your no's no's. Simple. About to go hang out with those friends that do bad things all the time. God's watching you. Those friends try to convince you to do something else. Sorry, God's watching you. They're going to think you're weird. They're going to be like, oh man, this guy, who is he? Nah. Then those are the wrong friends to be hanging out with. And this is the problem because most people fear losing money, fear losing status, fear losing chicks. Freaking, they fear everything else but the Lord. They fear so many things, and they fear it so much. And you're wondering, why can't you do this with God? And so, you have to detach yourself from these things. Because once you truly fear God, you cannot fear other things. Remember, the only thing you should fear is God. When you fear losing all these other things, you cannot fear God. Because once you start to fear God, you start to think all these other things are just bullcrap. Nothing but vanity, right? Don't let your friends do something. Don't let your friends convince you to do something that is against God. Respectfully. Keep a strong boundary. A boundary. Just be like, no. I fear the Lord too much. Most men, they fear rejection more than sin. When your friends reject you, like, oh man, you're so weird. They fear that more than sin. They fear judgment from people more than judgment from God. And this is why discipline, this ties to discipline. This is why discipline feels foreign. You cannot have discipline anymore. Discipline completely gets thrown out the window because you cannot have discipline for this, you won't have discipline for anything else. Freaking Jezebel's pulling up. Eve's pull up. No, Eve. I'm not gonna disobey God. No, Eve. I fear the Lord. I know you don't, but I fear the Lord. No, Jezebel, I fear the Lord. I know you like whoring around, but I fear the Lord too much. Alright? So back up. I'm gonna go find myself a virtuous woman that actually fears the Lord. Because this is what you should be doing. Always think God is watching you. Don't get freaking horny. Be like, oh, I'll take any girl I see. No. And so what you have to do is stop fearing other people. Stop fearing what other people think about you. Stop fearing rejection and all these other things, because in Ecclesiastes, God and Proverbs, God created both consequence and success. And so what you need to start doing is fearing the one who created those things, fearing the one who created everything, not other people. Out of all things, I'm going to say what Solomon said, out of all things, fear the Lord. You know? Fear the Lord, because that's the beginning of all knowledge. And that's the whole thing, that's the whole matter. I'm going to end with the verse today, because you need to hear it. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, the whole duty of a disciple, the whole duty of a follower, the whole duty of a Christian, the whole duty of a person who follows Jesus. You know, my dog's right behind me. I want to make him fear the Lord too. Anyways, that's it.